Footnote number 8. In this footnote I will speak a little bit more about other three movements of Dvořák's New World Symphony, and I will also change the subject. I won't be anymore comparing it to a piece of JavaScript. Instead, I will take what most of you know much better than JavaScript, and that is onions. Let's compare this onion to the first movement of just any symphony, including this one. Let's furthermore compare this already little bit more developed onion to the second movement of any symphony. Obviously, this garlic, which we can consider an onion for our purpose, would be the third movement. And quite conveniently, it is a little bit weird kind of an onion, because it is a garlic. And finally, either of these could be the fourth movement, the finale of any symphony, in our case, the New World Symphony. And why do we say that? This onion might be a theme that we could call Raalfje or Neeltje. There are Raalfje and Neeltje in the second movement of this symphony. Raalfje begins like this. That would be Raalfje. And next to Raalfje, in this movement we also have Neeltje. Neeltje would be. And what will happen to both Raalfje and Neeltje during the third movement? In the third movement we will have the main theme called Hertje. And what happens in the background of Hertje? Well, happens Raalfje, or was it Neeltje? Listen to what clarinets play on this place. Well, obviously, what was Raalfje in the second movement? It simply became. And what will happen in the finale? Well, in the finale, needless to say, Raalfje, which we just heard in second, and then in the third movement will become what we mostly know this symphony about. Which is nothing else but. And of course, in the second movement, it was just. If we pay closer attention, we will see that the main theme from the fourth movement, we can, for example, call it Hendrikje, actually came to be using many different onions from previous movements of this symphony. Therefore, is related to Neeltje. That's Neeltje. That's Neeltje which participated in the creation of Hendrikje. And that's not the end. That's actually not the beginning. We forgot about the first movement. Was there any Neeltje in the first movement? Well, in my opinion, it actually started there. And that's our good old friend Wiesje. Our good old friend Wiesje, the natural competitor of Peetje. Just for those who didn't watch previous footnotes, which you should do, because you will learn a lot from me, a lot from those previous footnotes. In the first movement we had Peetje. Peetje, who was Peetje? That was Peetje and, let's say, its younger brother or younger sister or younger sibling, simply said. It was Wiesje. That was Wiesje. Usually the point of what you want to say is at the end of what you say. In case of Wiesje, it was... That's how we came to have Hendrikje. But as you also know, farmers' knowledge is transferred from one generation to another. And we might say that, for example, Antonín Dvořák used certain onions from older farmers in his New World onion. He used several very different but very related onions from his older colleague Beethoven. You will of course first think about Hendrikje, because Hendrikje is basically a quote to the scherzo of the ninth Beethoven's onion. That's how it begins. And it was reused in the farm of Dvořák in the ways of But if you go further back within Beethoven's crops, you will find different onions, and you will see that this onion originating from the 9th Symphony has its actual roots in the finale of the 7th Symphony. And in the 7th Symphony, you remember that it begins. But if you go further back, you will see that this cheerful finale has its onion roots where you would probably least expect it. And that's, of course, the beginning of 5th Beethoven's onion. Very simply, the method of an onion was inherited in the 7th Beethoven's onion. So, simply became. And later, in the 9th Beethoven's onion, and later, younger farmer Antonín Dvořák made his. So that's how that happened. And finally, this is Easter egg. Why do I show this Easter egg here? Well, it is Easter. Happy Easter, by the way. And traditionally, in many countries, you dye your Easter eggs by boiling them with an onion skin. Just the skin like this. Therefore, you can say that onions don't grow only within the same piece in which they represent, like we hopefully manage to explain the different phases of a development of a music piece, and at the same time the various phases of a development of an onion. But you can also reuse your onions, your future pieces. Where did it Dvořák do? In my opinion, he did it very soon in one of his next pieces, Cello Concerto in B minor. You will remember that this concerto begins with and what's that? Well, in my opinion, that's Hendrikje. That's actually Hendrikje is, of course, what we know as But we know Hendrikje also in a bit different form, which goes like this. And just listen. Therefore, that's how you can reuse your code, and that's generally how you can reuse your onions. Happy Easter!